Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, the place where we learn, explore, discover professional training. Today we will discuss about what is SIPOC. Here we will cover what is SIPOC, how a SIPOC works, few examples of SIPOC. So let's start. First, what is SIPOC? SIPOC is an acronym where S stands for Supplier, I stands for Input Key Requirements, P stands for Process, O stands for Output Key Requirements, C stands for Customer. The origins of SIPOC tool can be traced back to the Total Quality Management (TQM) movement, which gained prominence in the mid-20th century. TQM emphasizes continuous improvement and customer satisfaction. The SIPOC diagram appears to have emerged as a simplification and clarification of process mapping, particularly in Lean and Six Sigma methodologies. These methodologies, which focus on efficiency and minimizing defects, adopted the SIPOC as a tool to clearly define and communicate the key elements of a process. A SIPOC supplier, input, process, output, customer diagram is a visual representation of a high-level process map, including suppliers' inputs into the process and outputs customers of the process. Visually communicates the scope of a project. Means SIPOC diagrams serve as a visual communication tool for defining the scope of a project. By mapping out the key elements of a process, including external suppliers and customers, the diagram helps in clearly understanding the boundaries of the project. SIPOC is a good tool for translating customer requirements into input-output requirements and identifying related key process input-output variables, KPIVs, KPOVs. It aids in understanding the flow of materials, information, and actions within a process, ensuring alignment with customer expectations. SIPOC helps in identifying key process input variables, KPIVs, and key process output variables, KPOVs. This is crucial for process optimization and improvement, as focusing on these key variables can lead to better control and predictability. SIPOC establishes project scope and should be referred back to in later project phases to ensure adherence to scope. Eliminate scope creep. Means the SIPOC diagram is instrumental in establishing the scope of a project. It outlines the boundaries of the process under consideration and provides a reference point for project teams to ensure that they stay within the defined scope and avoid scope creep. Be very clear about where the process starts and where the process ends. This should align with and help to define your project scope. It is emphasized that it's crucial to be clear about where the process starts and where it ends. This clarity aligns with and helps define the project scope. Knowing the exact boundaries of the process ensures that improvements and changes are targeted and effective. In summary, SIPOC diagrams are powerful tools for project management and process improvement, providing a clear visual representation of the scope, inputs, outputs, and key variables associated with a process. They play a crucial role in maintaining project focus and preventing scope creep. Next, how a SIPOC works. First, draw a matrix or table where put supplier, inputs, process, outputs, customers in different columns. Here, involve a cross-section of those who work with the process to create the diagram. Step 1. Begin with the high-level process map. First, be very clear about where the process starts and where the process ends. This should align with and help define your project scope. And keep the process map to the highest level. Don't be tempted to dive too deeply into process steps at this point. Keep it to 4 to 5 steps maximum. Consider key critical process. Next, Step 2. List all of the outputs from the process. Start by brainstorming with the team about outputs. Outputs can also include requirements. For example, each product produced may have a tolerance level to meet quality requirements. If you have a lot of outputs, focus on the critical few. List the outputs on the diagram, such as services, products, reports, metrics, raw data, etc. Next, Step 3. Identify the customers receiving the outputs. Next, identify those people or processes that receive the output. Take special note of any downstream processes. Do the outputs of this process match the inputs of the downstream process? List the customers on the diagram, such as internal and external customers, vendors, end users, management, downstream process, etc. Next, Step 4. List all of the inputs into the process. Now we turn our attention to the process inputs. Inputs can also include requirements. For example, raw materials may have a purity level to meet quality requirements. If you have a lot of inputs, focus on the critical few. List the inputs on the diagram, such as data, parts, application, raw materials, etc. Next, Step 5. Identify the suppliers of the process inputs. Finally, identify the people, systems, or upstream processes that supply the inputs. Take special note of any upstream process. Do the inputs of this process match the outputs of the upstream process? List the suppliers on the diagram, such as internal and external supplier, vendors, producers, management, upstream process, etc. Next, let's consider a simple example of a SIPOC diagram for the process of making and serving a cup of coffee. In this example, we'll outline the suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers involved in the coffee making process. SIPOC diagram for making and serving coffee. Step 1. Begin with the high-level process map. Process. Outline the key steps involved in making and serving the coffee. Grind coffee beans. Boil water. Brew coffee. Froth milk if applicable. Mix coffee with milk and sugar if desired. Pour coffee into a cup. Step 2. List all of the outputs from the process. Outputs. Outputs are the final products generated by the process. A cup of brewed coffee. Cup of brewed coffee. Optional: coffee with milk and sugar. Step 3. Identify the customers receiving the outputs. Customers. Customers are the individuals or entities receiving the final product. The person who ordered the coffee. The person who ordered the coffee. Other potential customers in a social setting. Step 4. List all of the inputs into the process. Inputs. Inputs are the raw materials used in the process. Coffee beans, water, milk, sugar and cream. Step 5. Identify the suppliers of the process inputs. Suppliers. Suppliers are the entities providing the raw materials, coffee beans, water, milk, sugar, and next, let's see another example of SIPOC. Let's consider a simple example of a SIPOC diagram for the process online shopper. In this example, we'll outline the suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers involved in online shopper process. Step 1. Begin with the high-level process map. Outline the key steps involved, such as browse the online store, select products, add selected products to cart, proceed to checkout, enter shipping and billing information, confirm order, payment processing, order confirmation. Step 2. List all of the outputs from the process. Outputs are the final products generated by the process, such as order confirmation email, receipt or invoice, shipping notification, delivered product. Step 3. Identify the customers receiving the outputs. Customers are the individuals or entities receiving the final product. Online shopper. Step 4. List all of the inputs into the process. Inputs are the raw materials used in the process, such as customer information, name, address, contact, product catalog and information, order details, product, quantity, etc. Payment information. Step 5. Identify the suppliers of the process inputs. Suppliers are the entities providing the raw material, such as online retailer, product manufacturers, shipping companies. This example illustrates how a SIPOC diagram can provide a high-level overview of a process, making it a useful tool for understanding and communicating the key elements and relationships within a system. Hope now you can make a SIPOC easily. Thank you for joining us on the fast career growth journey. If you found value in today's content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue to create meaningful and actionable content for your career development. Feel free to leave comments below on topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. We are here to cater to your career growth.